Captain Roger here, Steve Turner Ace, Arlington and Fernandina, and we're going to start doing narrowing it down to specific products we sell here at Ace in the fishing department. And this is a lure that we sell in the fishing department. You come see Glenn Shelton here, Steve Turner Ace, and it's the Greenies from Unfair Lures. Two sizes. You got a 90 and a 70. And in our river, we have kind of two forages. We have a migrating menhaden that comes in here in the river in the warmer months, but in the winter months, we have a freshwater shad that also is in the river that trout and most of your predatory fish key on. And the Greenie does the best job of mimicking those two forages, no matter what time of the year, because of the profile. It looks like a menhaden or a shad style, bait. Some key things about this lure that I really like is the rattle. You don't got to hold it to your ear to hear it. You can hold it 25 feet away and you can hear that. That calls them in. All this stuff about silent lures and all that, well, this is my own experience on that. As soon as I break a lure and it doesn't, rattles don't start working, then I don't start catching. And I go right in my box and I grab a new lure that rattles. So all the quiet and the rattles, I think that's a gimmick. That comes from me. I want a rattle. I want a lure that rattles. And I want a company that is not going to try to short talk me into not getting rattles. And Unfair dang sure put some rattles in here. Another good thing about this lure is the way it comes through the water. It's got a big profile on each side where you can really see it. And it kind of's got a little shimmy, but that's not the important thing. This is a twitch bait. So as you slowly retrieve it down the water column and you snap it and it does a side roll, and what happens is it's like a LED light up under there. When that thing rolls, when you snap your rod, it just flashes. It's almost as loud as the rattles. So you got the rattles and you got that huge flash that really attracts them from far away. And then you start slow retrieving again, and that's how you work that lure. You just slow it, twitch it real hard, and it does that roll, and it kind of slows down, and then you start retrieving it where it's straight like this. They can really catch in that. It really catches those fish's eyes. Another thing about this lure is, as an angler, you always look for new products and you want stuff that works, because I'm just like anybody else. If I caught an 8-pound trout, I want to catch a 9-pound trout. Everybody wants to upgrade on what they've done. And in the last 2 or 3 years, I've caught 2 stripers, 2 of them over 30, well over 30 pounds on this lure right here. I've heard a lot of stories, a lot of campfire stories about, this and that about the stripers, but I can tell you, I've had them on the boat. I've got the pictures, and I've caught them on this lure. So the stories behind the campfires there's no more stories about that. Those are reality. Those fish are out there. And I was throwing probably fishing the same waters for years, but until I got this lure, big things started happening. A lot of things started happening. And one more thing about this bait is the hooks. These Unfair trebles are super, super strong. Super sharp. They hold. I don't know the scientific what's going on with it, but I really don't lose a lot of fish on these hooks. And with the treble with the reverse barb on it, if I hook myself, I don't need to do a special string trick to pull out that hook. I just grab a pair of pliers and kind of reverse pressure it against the barb and yank it right out. So I don't have any of those problems. But the best thing is they hold and they're strong. A little thing about what kind of tackle I'm using with this reel. I like a bait caster, and I like 17 to 20 pound mono, and that's what I use with this particular lure. Sometimes I'll go down to 15, and depending if I want to get a little deeper, I'll trick it out with a little fluorocarbon. I'll go straight fluorocarbon, or I'll just go straight mono. Mono floats, so if you don't want it go sink as deep, use mono. But if you want to get down deeper, use fluorocarbon. And I use it on a fiberglass cranking rod. That's very important. I like a soft tip rod, just like the bass guys do, because in my mind, I want a fish that is hooked well, and that rod enables, when those fish grab this lure, the rod is forgiving, so it sucks those hooks in. And really, you don't really have to really set the hook hard, but when they're shaking and they're shaking their heads, that hook is forgiving, it's bending, and it's not ripping those hooks out of their jaws. It's kind of holding them like a shock absorber. And even with the bigger fish I've caught, big reds, 30, 40, I think my biggest one was about 45 on this one, maybe 30. When they're shaking their heads, if I hook them, I'm very confident that these hooks are not going to pull out. And there's so much to go on with this lure. The hooks, the rattles, the flash, the action. The line tie, I just tie a simple trilene. They call it a trilene knot I grew up with. You go in the eye in the swivel, and you go back through it, where you make a little loop. You go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wraps through the hole, cinch it down, and trim it, and that's how we do it. And that's how you do it. Now this swivel, don't let it bother you. That swivel's helping you.